Was there ever, that proverbial, carrot being dangled in front of you in a sense of like, okay, like this is wrong, but it's kind of tempting to go down this route in order to like solve some problems. But at the end of the day, of course, you do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, if you do the right thing, everything will work itself out. Like in the moment, things might sting, things might be hard if there's certain tough situations. But at the end of the day, it'll always work itself out. But did you ever have a situation, whether it was as a writer, as a general manager, dealing with all of these different situations, did you ever have a situation where you're like, I could go down this road, but I'm not going to?
Well, one of the situations played out in a very visible way, and that is when Fox took over ownership of the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And at the very beginning, in their first year, in their first few months, Fox bought the Dodgers because they were interested in the Southern California television rights.
Yeah.
And then as they continued to expand, they were also interested in the Florida television rights in the Florida area. And the Marlins were an important part of that. And so as they were negotiating, and it later learned about that deal with the Marlins were kind of hamstrung with their financial situation, trying to figure everything out because they had some rather significant contracts with Bobby Bonilla and Gary Sheffield, among others. And Fox said, as later revealed, well, we can handle those contracts for you. We'll take those players and we'll trade you Mike Piazza, who's a free agent at the end of the year. So you have zero obligation after that year. And they basically, and this is pretty well documented in my book, Fred Clare, My 30 Years in Dodger Blue, they basically came to me and said, Fred, we want you to say that you made this trade. So now, I didn't really analyze it as such, but my instincts certainly led me to believe that I either did this or I would pay a price for it because this is what the ownership was asking me to do. And my answer was, you got the wrong guy here. If you think I'm going to go before the public, before the media, and then the public, and lie about the situation, it's not going to happen. And so when the press conference was ultimately held, I was very candid, as the record shows, of how this trade came about. I remember a day after the press conference, a writer who was well tuned in to the television industry also said, Fred, they're going to get you. They are so pissed at you. They are going to get you. And indeed, they did. But Jack, I never really looked back, even though it cost me my job at a important time in my career. I would do the same thing today. I would do the same thing any day. So I think it's, I just knew two things. I knew that it was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to think about it. Again, I know right from wrong. And so I made that decision, and Fox in turn fired me. And I've never regretted that decision in any way. I felt that I wasn't devastated by it, because you shouldn't be devastated if you're doing the right thing, regardless of what the price is. And I knew that now it was time, after 30 years with the Dodgers, to move on with my life and to move on with other things. So temptation is always going to be there for all of us. And the decisions we make determine who we are.